Hello, I'm Alejandro Duran, and it is a pleasure to be your spiritual fitness coach today. Imagine with me for a moment having to take a specific task that you immediately felt inadequate to do. You are frightened by the idea of knowing the skills it will take to be successful. And as you meditate on that, your confidence level decreases. Your heart pressure increases, and your worry and fear like never before. Having to imagine this kind of experience reminds me of the story God authored in the life of Joshua. He was called to bring the people of Israel to the promised land, the mission of a lifetime. Imagine Joshua had been with Moses from the very beginning, walking, training, and learning from the leader who encountered God face to face, leading God's people to the promised land, perhaps a mission he felt insecure about. Yet took time to listen and waited expectantly for the voice of God. Oftentimes, I have learned that worry and fear aren't a matter of inadequacy or lack of skill, but a lack of trust in God. Fear becomes an unpleasant emotion that makes us feel insecure and at the foot of a very dangerous place or uncomfortable circumstances. I often meditate that worry and fear kick in when God's presence is absent from those moments, and not necessarily the absence of peace, but a sense of confidence in God's ever-present helps in trouble. Psalm 46, 1 through 2 reminds us of that. God is our refuge and strength, and ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Joshua learned that God was a shelter for his fear, his muscle for his insecurity, and his help in the assurance of God's command and presence. God said to him in Joshua 1:9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." God's charge for Joshua was to be reminded of three things: God's promise, God's power, and God's presence. These were not only for the mission ahead of him, but for his life. If he was worried and fearful of the task at hand, God's presence would make all the difference in his life. Joshua worried. He feared for what was ahead of him, but he was aware of his reality. He was aware of God's voice and instructions, and he was trusting God's providential plan. I can't help but wonder how those initial instructions from God filled Joshua with confidence and hope. He had a prescription for his mission: be strong, be courageous, and do not fear, because of God's presence will be with him everywhere he goes. I would want us to be reminded that this prescription came with a cost. God's only Son came to our space and time to give his life as a ransom so that we will be free from the power of sin and death. His death and resurrection enables us, believers by God's grace, through faith in Jesus, His Spirit dwells within us. God's presence is ever present wherever we go. And I want us to have the assurance that God has made a way for us to not fear and worry. You and I can win today by being reminded and confident of the Holy Spirit living in us and empowering our lives to be strong and courageous and not to be afraid, because God is with us wherever we go. So today, take these words from Joshua with you. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Say this and think about this as you go through your day. Then let us know how the Lord has helped you be strong and courageous. Now go and win today.